Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and seeing how you've reacted so far to Happy Little Zippers, I'm expecting that many of the regular viewers somewhat struggled with a totally balanced approach. That I thought, well, surely for a weekend we've got to be entitled to slightly more approachable puzzles. But I just want to forewarn you, the next one that I'm planning to do for Sunday looks pretty difficult. Not gonna lie. So I hope that you enjoy this bit of a break, and we're taking a look at oscilloscope wave interference by Will Power. Now I tried to represent this in this picture with an engineer messing around with an oscilloscope. I've never seen an oscilloscope this size, but if you're creating wave interference patterns somehow, maybe you need all of that gadgets. I don't know what that engineer is doing, but hopefully we do when we take a look at this puzzle. So, oscilloscope wave interference by Will Power. You can basically sort of almost see kind of the various waves, the different almost like interference that's happening. It's as always from Will Power, just a lovely puzzle that just with so little, just 81 cells, able to just show so many different diagrams and stories in these particular puzzles. So we've got certainly no shortage of rules here today. We've got the following. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so that means the digits 1 to 9 in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Now, German whispers, which is the numbers on green lines, are at least 5 apart from their neighbor on the line. So, for example, if this is a 1, this would have to be 5 or more away, so that would be 6 or 7, or obviously 8 or 9. And the thing to remember about German whispers lines is essentially you end up oscillating between a high digit, 6, 7, 8, or 9, or a low digit, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Notice in this list, I did not include 5 in the high or low digits because you're going to really struggle to put something that is 5 or more away from a 5 when you're limited to normal Sudoku rules. Now, this is not true when you look at Dutch whispers. So numbers on the red lines, the Dutch whisper lines, are at least 4 apart from their neighbors on the line. And numbers may repeat on the lines if other rules allow. Now, the main thing that's different about this now is I can put a 5 on here because I'm sure you can think of 2 digits that are 4 or more away from a 5, so 1 and 9 would both work. But aside from the 5, you're going to find that it pretty much follows the same rules. So if that was the 9, for example, that would have to be 4 or more away. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, although we've already used it. And then you end up again with this type of oscillation, but you just have to really look out for 5s on Dutch whisper lines. We've got quadruples. So numbers in circles show the numbers in the 4 cells around that circle. So if we take this circle as an example, we've got 4, 5, 7, and 9. Essentially, that's a free pencil mark. That's saying 4, 5, 7, 9 are in the following set of circles around it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 6. Now, last rule we have is around the killer cages. So numbers in cages sum to the number in the top left corner. If we take this example here, the 14, that's saying these 2 cells that are highlighted with the dashed line must sum up to 14. You could do this in many ways. For example, you could do 5 and 9. That would be one way of actually adding up to 14. Well, there is no shortage of rules, which is helpful because we've got an empty grid today. Even if you're not an engineer, I'm pretty sure you've come across wave interference on oscilloscopes before. Link will be in the description down below as usual for you to play along and unpack this mystery. And with that said, let me restart the clock and see how I get on. So normally, I would look at German whispers lines and I would say, actually, I'm going to just show you what I would have done. I would have said, well, these are all purple because it's every other digit is the same polarity. Every other digit, every other digit. And I would just pick some neutral colors like purple and orange. But unusually, today we know which one is high and which one is low, because 14, I certainly can't use even the highest low digit here of 4, because that means I need to have a 10 in there. So that's nonsense. These are all high digits. These are all low digits. And my suspicion is I need to that this is actually fixed. So if you think about the 4 and 6s for a moment, you can't put a 4 on any one of these. And the reason for that is to be 5 away from a 4, you'd need a 9. And if you put it on any one of these peaks, you'd need 2 9s in a row and you'd immediately break the puzzle. So to me, that's the 4, the 9, the 5, because of the killer cage to add up to 14. And then you can essentially do the reverse, the 6, the 1. And then my expectation is this is going to just flow as 2 and 3. And you can see essentially because the 7 can only join up with the 2 and the 1, you just keep working towards the least restricted cells. So 4 and 6, then you resolve these, you work through the 7. It's got to have a neighbor of a 1 and a 2. And then lastly, we've got the 8 here, again, to help the 3 with a neighbor of a 9 and an 8. Now, what this tells us, though, is these are all clearly going to be low cells with a 5, which I'm just going to show as a gray one for now, and red cells with a 5. And I feel like I need to start with the 5, because the 5 is quite tricky. I mean, it's tricky and it's not tricky, because every single one of these Dutch whisper lines, every one of the Dutch whisper digits can actually have 2 different neighbors. It's just what I'm thinking is, because we've actually used the 1 and the 9, that's not entirely true this time. If I put a 5 in here, I'd need a 1 and a 9, but the 9 is taken. So my thinking is this is the 5, and the reverse is true. This is the 5, and therefore this is the 1, this is the 9. I can essentially remove the grays now from pretty much all of these cells except these 2. And my suspicion is the rest of it will actually work exactly the same way. So go with the most restricted cells, such as the 4 again. It can have a neighbor of a 9 and an 8. Reverse is true here. The 6 can have a neighbor of 1 and a 2. And you just keep working through that, 7 and 3. So that's a lot of cells done in under 3 minutes. Let's keep going. We know that all of these are going to be of the same polarity. I'm going to call this purple. This will be orange. This time we don't actually know which one is the low or high digit. And actually, if you excuse me for a moment. Right, where was I? So I'm thinking it's probably now... I mean, the 11 and the 9 cages are more restricted than may seem, because we know they're made up of a low digit and a high digit. So, 4 and 5 don't work, because, 5 can't be on a German whispers line, but they're also not 5 apart. 3, 6 doesn't work. 7, 2 does, 1, 8 does. So that's 2, 7, or 1 and... Nope. 8 and 1, because we've got this 8 here, eliminating the 8 option. And I think we've got almost something similar here. 5, 6, not possible. 7, 4, not possible. 8, 3 is. As is 2, 9, although we have this 2 here, so the 2 and 9 can only be in this order. But I don't think this is the way to go about solving it, if I'm honest. So we can see the quadruples, the circles, the 2, the 5. Actually, we do know the 2 and the 6 are here, so that's helpful. That's 4 and 5. Am I really going to bother pencil marking these in? Not really. Does that tell us anything about the 10? It tells us it's restricted to 1 or 9 or 3 and 7. And it's in fact 3 and 7, because 3 and 7 can't be here. They're not in the quad. It's 3, 7 there. And now we need 1, 9, and 8. So that's 189 here. Maybe worthwhile actually pencil marking this because I get the 8, 9 for free. And now there is a 4 because we've got a 189 triplet down there. 3, 7. Kind of. You've got 4s. You've got 4, 5 and 4, 5 in here. It tells us that this is the 4, 5. If I put them anywhere in the top row, I'll break these cells. And therefore, this is 2, 3. Actually, this 4 and this 5 up there give me the order. That's the 5, that's the 4. Can't put a 2 in a 12 cage. I'm going to have to essentially attach it to a 10. So that's 3, that's 9, that's 2. That's not 2, therefore that's not 7. Still not enough. It's okay. That gives me the 6 and the 2. Tells me this is not the 9. Can I do any more in here? Tells me the 9 is up there. Okay. Tells me there's at least, there's 1, 4, 5 at the top, 1, 4, 5 at the bottom. And therefore, the 7 has to be at the bottom. Hopefully that made sense. If there's 1, 9 at the top, and I can't put 2, 4, 5s at the bottom because that would break this cell. So there's 1, 4, 5 at the top, 1 at the bottom. There's a 7 in the bottom row. This 7 actually tells me where it goes. That's the 7. That's a 4, 5. And to complete the row, this is the 1, 8. Then I have a second 4, 5 with a 9. Therefore, this is not a 9 either. That's the 9. Do I have anything else in here? Not sure. Okay. What more do I know? Dutch whisper line, maybe. So I've got 1, 6, 7, 8. So 1 and 6 are not in these two cells, they're here. And then we've got 7 and 8, which tells me that this is high, this is low, this is high. This can only be 1 and 2 now. We've got actually a 1, 8 pair. It tells me it is only a 2. I should know what these are. This is 5 and 6. This 5 tells me the order. That's the 5, that's the 6. This is now, purple is now high. And therefore orange is now low. And that will probably solve quite a bit of this for me. 1, 8. This is not an 8. Well, it's 2 or 3. With 8 or 9. So it's not entirely solved. Does 3, 8 work? Yeah. 2, 9 works? Yeah. Okay, so nothing obvious. This has to be a 1 next to the 6. This can be anything. This is a low digit, such as 3 or 4, with 8 or 9 to make up the 12. Yeah, not enough information to solve it just yet. So this is not 6, not 8. This is 7 or 9. You can see these two 1s eliminate 1s in this box, box 4. And I can't put a 1 inside a 12. That would mean it's being joined with an 11. So that wasn't going to work. So this is not 5, it's not 7 or 8. This is actually restricted to 6 or 9. 6 can't go in a 12 cage because it would require another 6. So that's a 9, that's a 3. Therefore, this is an 8, this is a 3. The 3 has to be 4 away. Both 7 and 8 are unfortunately qualified. This has to be 4 or more away. It's not 6. It can be 7 or 8, but not the 9. So this is 7 or 8. Can't be the 7 because that would require it to be joined with a 5. So that's 8 and 4 to complete this. 12 cage, 9, 8. Still not resolved, 3, 7. And this is 3, 7, or 9, but it's actually 7 or 9 because we've got a 3 in here. So that's the 3. Therefore 7, 3. Therefore 8, 7. This 1 gives me the 8 and the 1. Still not resolve the 4 5s, not resolve the 7 9s. That's okay. What is this cell? This is not 1. It's not 3. And it can't be 4. This is a 2. This can be 7, 8, or 9. 8 and 9 not available. That's the 7. I now have 4 and 6. This 6 gives me the order. 6 and 4. You can see the 4s eliminating all the cells in box 5 except this one. I need a 2, which is up here. Yeah. We're very nearly done. I was just thinking it's giving me where the 4 is, but it doesn't stop me from... Actually, the 9, I do now know. This is the 9, this is the 4, this is the 5. This is the 4, the 5. I can finish this one. That's the 8. I was just about to say, I think we're now down to Sudoku, and I think the answer to that is correct. Yes. Basically used up all of the clues. Just simple stuff now. 7, 5. This cell we know. 3. I need a 1 in here. I don't actually know what it is. 2 and 6. And this should be fairly straightforward now. 1, 5, 6. We need a 2, 2, 3, and 7. And that's, wow, that's the solution for today's puzzle. That went by fairly quickly. Yeah, unusually quickly. I think it's, seeing this break-in is relatively obvious. You can immediately color the German whispers lines. You can pretty much recognize the fact that they need to be flowing down or up. You can see the challenge around the 5, and then essentially do the same thing to complete this. And then, yep, the 2 6 in here, the 4 5s, the 4 5s in here, the 2 3, and then I guess the German whispers and the killer cages. So it's a very approachable puzzle, which I hope that you've enjoyed. As always, thank you, Willpower, for the puzzle. Hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video, and good luck for tomorrow's much more difficult puzzle. Looking forward to reading the comments about this one today and obviously tomorrow's as well. Bye for now.